talk, and orangutans are my favorite animal. Orangutans are my favorite animal because they are close to humans and have so many cool social behaviors. Some of these things can be the many human activities they can be taught, like driving and sports. They have cool social calls like blowing raspberries and banging their chests. I'm not kidding about that, even though that sounds fake. And male orangutans come in two forms, flanged and unflanged. And the flanged ones are the more famous photo of them, where they have those huge, big cheeks and are typically wider. And the unflanged males are they're usually smaller and do not have big cheeks. They build nests for sleeping, kind of like birds. And I mean, they're cool. They're cool as hell. Just look at this guy. And they're clearly very tolerable to human behavior as you let them put the sunglasses on. As far as an orangutan's diet go, some of their favorites are berries, figs, fruits, and termites. But if food gets low or there's too much competition around, they will resort to eating leaves, which is perfectly edible to them due to their tendency to have mineral licks and to eat dirt and clay for the specific minerals it provides, and some chemicals in there that combat some of the anti-consumption chemicals often found in leaves, but preferably they choose to eat fruit. All right, I mentioned this earlier, but there are two types of male orangutans. They're flanged and unflanged. Now, the flanged is larger and has big cheeks, and the non-flanged is considerably smaller and looks pretty standard for great apes. Now, the difference and why this happens is because the flanged orangutans get more testosterone through genetics, where the non-flanged do not. There's no like particular reason this happens, but it's generally genetic, and I guess dumb luck. Now, the flanged males are more handsome, according to 100% of all asked female orangutans, and the non-flanged ones are not cool and are also smaller. These non-flanged males can only typically reproduce through force. Orangutans are social for animals, but generally unsocial when compared to many of the other great apes. They typically have their own tree and live with their own family. There are shared spaces among like families and orangutans, because they're still pretty social, you know. Typically, orangutans will meet often and are not complete hideaways. The courting process for orangutans is interesting, as there's the two kinds of orangutan boys. The unflanked orangutans are unwanted by female orangutans and typically have forced copulation. The chance of this succeeding is high, as females are unlikely to resist, but the chance of it forming a baby is low. The flanged males are very aggressive towards other flanged males, especially when around a sexually receptive female orangutan, and always end up in a little bit of a scuffle. These flanged males also have advanced vocal abilities due to enlarging cheeks and strengthened vocal muscles, and they can produce these very interesting noises that are incredibly attractive to female orangutans, but also delay sexual maturity in other male orangutans, which is interesting. Now, the digestive system of an orangutan is very similar to ours, among other great apes as well. The only difference is it's fitted with a stronger and more efficient set of gut bacteria for breaking down the tough, non-nutritious plant matter that they typically have to eat when food's not in high supply. Now, the digestive system starts at the esophagus before entering into the stomach, where all that tough, nutrient-inefficient stuff is broken down in what is actually an amazingly energy-efficient process among many animals. It then moves through the small intestine, where the nutrients are absorbed. Finally, large intestine, where everything is cleaned up and all the last nutrients are gained before it's excreted through the rectum. Now, the nervous system of an orangutan is highly complicated and advanced, just like ours. It's very so they have a big brain, just like me, except their brain is only like a third the size of ours, which is good for all that thinking they do, and it connects to their highly complicated and spread nerve system. Once again, very similar to humans. This was kind of an easy project in that sense. They also have highly receptive hearing and sight. As far as their nervous system goes, if it's true for you, it is likely true for them as well. The reproductive system of an orangutan is standard to that of most mammals and placentals, but is highly inefficient at putting out babies. And typically, a female orangutan can only really get out 4 to 5 babies, and that's if the mother is lucky. Orangutans can only make 1 baby at a time. The twins are technically possible, though the chance of this is so rare, it's not even something a female orangutan should really consider. They have a gestation period of 8 to 9 months, just like us, but they will wait 5 to 8 years after that for producing another baby. And this is because orangutan babies are real dependent for the first 9 years of their life. Now, the father will not be there for this period, though. The father leaves to go produce more babies. First baby will hold tight to its mother for basically its whole first year. Some of the cutest photos I've ever seen, like swinging from branches and stuff. He's just barely moving. And for the first 4 years, it'll wean. And slowly through this 9-year process before going out on its own, it'll start spending less and less time with its mother. And after that 9-year process, it'll usually leave the tree, living life on its own. But by this point, it is sexually mature, but orangutans typically wait 3 to 5 years before or after this point for them to start having babies. Orangutans are in a pretty bad situation, guys. There's not many left, and they're critically endangered. There's roughly 112,000 left. 104,000 of these are the Bornean orangutans, 7,000 are the Sumatran orangutans, and a recent discovery, somewhat recent, has discovered a newer species of orangutan, and they're called tapunuli. I probably said that wrong. There's only 800 of them. This is due to high deforestation, nabbing their environment, which is really just because, I don't know why they did this. These orangutans really want to live by where the trees are. They have those nice oils people like put on their skin and stuff, and is used in like food, like coconut oil and other oils. Yep. Now, as far as habitats go, the orangutans pretty much stick to Malaysia and Singapore. I'm not sure if Singapore is in Malaysia. This is a zoology class, not a geography class. They live in dense rainforests, and they need these dense forests for their nests and their food. They also typically live in trees with family members, and maybe occasionally another orangutan family if they're feeling social. But they're pretty solitary for great apes. As far as genetic similarities go and their evolutionary tree, great apes and that family, including us, including me, we split off from a common ancestor that walked on all fours about, it's predicted, 12 to 16 million years ago. And to this day, we share 97% DNA similarity with orangutans, except for Ethan Haney, he shares 99%. As far as the family tree goes, we are probably one of the more split up great apes, and we share much more similarities with the other great apes than with the orangutans, but the similarities are still there. As far as classification goes, they are in the animal kingdom. Big surprise. They physically eat cells through a variety of measures. They're in phylum Chordata. They got a backbone, that postanal tail, hollow dorsal notochord, you know what I meant, pharyngeal gill slits. They're mammals, specifically placental mammals. They've got long gestation periods, mammary glands, and milk, and luscious hair. Just look at this guy. They're order primate, just like us again. They got that big brain cavity, good vision. They got hands and feet for climbing and walking around, you know. Family, great apes. They're big, somewhat bipedal, you know. They're tree climbers, and they like to be around forests. Their genus is Pongo, meaning orangutan in Latin. They're big, lumbering, orange to brown apes with a hankering for fruit. And as far as species goes, there's 3 species, but I didn't pick a specific one because the only difference between the species is very slight in size, hair length, and their shade of color. All right, that was the end, guys. Hope you enjoyed.